Hi, good morning. Hi, I'm Kate. Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Looking forward to these scuba classes.
I know, I'm so excited. Let's get started.
Here we are with another fishing adventures of Judah, Clark, and the Fisher twins. Doing a couple narrations. A little overcast today, but the show must go on. So I came across this girl online. Her name is Kate, and she does scuba diving certifications. And I said, hey, you know, we ought to do some videos. You ought to come up to Miami and come to the house and scuba certify us. And she was like, great, let's do it. So she came up with our buddy Neil, who makes fishing lures down there. Kiko's jigs. I really like his jigs. I'm definitely going to be using them.
So all of this highlighted stuff, you're going to fill out just your personal information. You guys have pens?
Yeah, I can get some pens. First part of the training was classroom training. Well, that was kind of grueling. I never did good in school. You've done real well in school, but I hate school.
Straight A's over here.
For scuba, because you're going to be at depth, it's going to conduct heat away from your body a lot faster than you would just free diving or sitting at the surface. So if that does happen, that's an indication that you have to start to get out because your body could go into shock after that point. Little things like that are different than free diving, where like free diving normally, yes, I would probably just swim around to get warmer, but you're at the surface. But when you start to breathe in that oxygen, it like affects your body tissues differently. So if you start to shiver, that's just like an indication that your body is physically getting too cold and it's time to get out.
It was really interesting hearing about, you know, everything that you need to know about scuba coming from a freediver world. When I first was going to get into freediving, I originally was going for scuba. And then I started looking it up on YouTube actually and started coming across freediving, and I fell in love. So I never got into scuba. I got straight into freediving, got hardcore into it. The thing about freediving is it's a lot warmer than the surface.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you go down, it gets a lot colder.
Yeah.
So you think you're fine. That's why a lot of guys have like comment like, why are the girls in bikinis and you're in a wetsuit? Because they're diving 30 feet and I'm diving like 100 feet. When I go down there, it's cold. And if you go down there and start shivering, you're like, I'm gonna go back up.
It's the worst.
But for me, that's time to put on a different wetsuit and get back in, right?
Yeah, you can do that.
And then we usually come back.
I'm so excited for you to get to like explore now instead of just.
Well, I haven't had the browning third long.
Cool.
So that's pretty fun. Get lobster. We did lobster mini season off that.
Did you?
And we just basically crawled around 30-foot range reef like all day for 2 days. We had a bunch of dudes on a big, huge boat, but we got a lot. We got like 72 lobster the first day, like 52 the next day.
That's awesome. We had a pretty good season, I think. It was nice that there wasn't so many people, honestly. As much as
less people.
Yeah, they closed down the boat ramps for people who weren't locals. So I feel like there was just a lot less traffic in general. It was really nice.
Cool. I'm quizzed too. When I look at things underwater, they seem blank than when I look at them on the surface. I had to learn this the hard way a couple of times. And there's a video on the channel where there was a wahoo in Key West, and I was like, "Oh, I got you, mother!"
Oh no!
And so I was like, "What the hell?"
So far away.
Huge wahoo. Spirit just went on. I'm like, man.
And that is the bookwork.
So after the classroom, we had pull training.
Ready to get scuba certified.
So one of the reasons I wanted to get scuba certified is just to have that equipment on hand for safety, just in case anything happens and I need to like go down a little bit deeper and spend a little bit more time that I can or want to free diving. And the first thing I wanted to do was buy a bunch of equipment. So I went down to Austin's Dive Center. They hooked me up with everything that I needed. I really appreciate how helpful they were. I got a BCD. We got a number of tanks for that whole session. They supplied the air. Got my regulator, got my fins. Basically got a full setup at Austin's Dive Center. So thank you, the guys down at Austin's.
All right, so we're gonna do our gear assembly first. So Judy, you're over here. All right, so first thing, this is an aluminum 80. So this is a standard dive tank, holds 3,000 PSI. If you ever get anything that's over like 32, it's gonna be over pressurized. It'll always have a sticker on the side somewhere. This will tell you the last time that it was serviced. Remember, they're supposed to be serviced every year physically, and then every 5 years hydrostatically tested, which means the water pressure is tested inside for the structures of the tank. So the first thing, you should always have a capped scuba tank. If it's ever uncapped like this, that's a good indication that it was already used. So if you see one like this on a dive boat, don't immediately go to this one unless you've been told, like they'll say, hey, set up on an uncapped tank. That just indicates they've already set up spots where everyone can fit in nicely without having to maneuver around. So when we set this up, we're gonna set it up with the air to the hair. So air to the back of your head. So we're gonna face it towards the pool first, and then you're gonna grab your BCD. So this is your buoyancy device. So there are 2 straps on this. There's gonna be one on the bottom. Yours is a buckle, so it's a little bit different. And then there's a strap at the top that can go around the neck. So we're gonna start with the bigger strap, and I'll come help you with yours in a second. And it's gonna slide over the tank, and it fits snug. And you just wanna shimmy it down. Just give it a nice little tug to make sure your tank doesn't fall out. Perfect. All right, the next thing we're gonna do is add our regulator. So our reg setup, it's already put together. You've got your primary air source, which is always a black hose. This one is a little bit shorter. Your octo or your secondary air is gonna be indicated with some sort of yellow, pink, it's usually a color. You have a different integrated system. We talked about this yesterday. So yours is actually gonna be on your BCD. When we're doing this, you always want your regulator to hang over your right-hand side to make it easiest to find it. When we're putting this on, it's gonna be opposite. So we're setting it up to the left so that it's on our right when we're in our jacket. So you're gonna unscrew the dust cap first, and then you're gonna see that there's a nice little filter here that lines up with that O-ring. Okay, so this hose on the right-hand side that's dangling free, we're gonna attach this. This is your low pressure inflator hose. So this is the hose that's gonna bring air to your BCD to help you stay neutrally buoyant. So there's like a little Velcro here at the top. You can stick that through to stay streamlined. Now everything is hooked up. We're gonna add our weight system in when we get into the pool. It'll just be a little bit easier. We're gonna test our air. So anytime you guys first turn on your air, you wanna make sure that this gauge is pointed away from you, just in case your tank is over pressurized. That pressure can actually push out that plastic, and you don't want it to hit you in the face. So you're gonna turn the air on away from you. So open it all the way, and then when it doesn't turn, do one little turn back. When you're done, check the tank. It should start with 3,000 PSI. When we're first breathing this out, we always want to make sure we purge it out or exhale into it first, just in case there was anything like residual water left over from cleaning it from the dive before. So always exhale first, and then when you take your inhale, you're going to look at that depth gauge, and you want to make sure that your PSI needle doesn't dip down as you're breathing. If it does, something is wrong, and you want to get that regulator serviced. So you're going to go ahead, exhale. And just take a couple dark breaths. Good. Make sure you're looking at your depth gauge. So what are we looking for right now? There you go. Good. Perfect. So now our air is on. We can either lay the tank down, turn it off.
It tastes weird.
It's very dry. Yes. Welcome to the world of scuba diving, y'all. You're now mouth breathers. So let's lay this down. We're gonna go ahead and get in the water, and then we'll add in our weight system. All right, do you guys want to start with your 10-minute float? And I'll let you know when your 10 minutes is up.
We're done?
That's a wrap.
Okay. Man, I used to can float so easily when I had more body fat. Now I like sink like a rock. Oh.
This always needs to be at the highest point. If I'm swimming like this and I try to release my air, it's not going to go anywhere because I'm horizontal. Air is going to escape from the highest point. So if this is down here, my shoulder is technically the highest point. So I'm going to need to elevate this all the way to let that air escape. Does that make sense? So on that note, with scenarios like that, if someone does happen to come by really close to you and kick your regulator out of your mouth, now it's out. There are 2 easy ways that you can use to find that regulator. Remember, it's always on your right hand side. The first way, which I find a little bit easier, is a sweep. So you're gonna stick your right arm out in front of you. So go ahead and toss your regulator over your shoulder. Okay, now stick your right out in front of you. Lean over to the right, your right, not my right. Now sweep your arm right next to your leg. It should touch your knee. Go straight back and make a big arm circle. It should be directly on your shoulder at some point in your arm. And you follow that hose down. From there, you put it back in your mouth, and then one of two ways, either pressing the purge or exhaling to get it out. That's the first way. When I do that, it's super important to remember to lean over like this. Leaning over helps that hose stick out like this. And it makes it easier to do that arm circle back to ensure that you're gonna hook it on some point. If for some reason you don't find it, don't panic. Start at your hand and go up your shoulder until you feel that hose. It will be there, okay? If that doesn't work for any odd reason, the second way that you can find your regulator, if you toss it over your shoulder, your left hand is gonna grab the bottom of your tent. You're gonna lift it up and to the right like this, and that first hose that you find is gonna be your regulator. That one is a little bit more complicated and depends on your shoulder flexibility for that. Like I said, I do think that the first way is the easiest. However, I will demonstrate both, and you can use either or if you have any questions about that. So we're gonna demonstrate, I'm gonna do both first. I'll probably do a purge for one of them and a blast for the second one. You can use either clearing method, and you can use either getting method to retain. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Cool. Regulator, and we're gonna drop down. I just wanted to make sure you were going to remember to turn the right way. Good job. Yeah, so with that, just remember, regulator on the right, R and R. That way you know which way to turn. Good. Good job. Any questions?